All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the week 11 episode of the Big Dogs on Campus. And as always, even a little bit earlier than me still, is our big dog, Big AC. Anthony, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm up and ready, man. Ready to rock and roll. Had some high school football last night. Today, I'm ready for some college football, man. Every Saturday is a good Saturday during football season, man. So I'm in the building. Good to see you, Big N. Let's get it cracking, bro.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I know Martin's probably going to join us here in a little bit, but speaking of those high schools, I mean, how's everything looking out there on the West Coast as far as that goes for you?
Oh man, I'm hurt, man. My Jackrabbits in Long Beach probably got beat last night by Los Al.
Mm.
Modern Day, of course, put things down as they normally do. Bosco put things down. Big upset. Mission Viejo knocked out Centennial Corona, which that's a big upset. But that's the big dogs, man. Big dogs on Friday night out here in Cali, man. So it's Friday Night Lights at its finest. The goal is to play during Thanksgiving. Every year for high school football is to play during Thanksgiving. You make it a Thanksgiving, you had a successful season. But if you don't finish the job, sometimes it's, you kind of go home with that nasty taste in your mouth and you have to think about it for a whole year. And a lot of these guys, it's their last shot. And then they move on to the next level and then become a real big dog playing on Saturdays. So, I'm hurt for the kids, but at the same time, they had a great year. Undefeated game going into last night's game and lost. So it was tough.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially when both teams are hanging zeros and you know somebody's going to get hurt and somebody gets to move on and get a little bit closer to the Turkey Bowl almost. I don't know what y'all call it out there, but I know out
Well,
here go ahead.
The Turkey Bowl is this old dudes going out and playing on Thanksgiving. So a bunch of us guys. I mean, I haven't played in a long time, but we
Mhm.
used to go to the old high school, grab some guys from local high schools, and we go out there and in the infirmary, the emergency kit, the just the old heads go out there and play a game of tackle football. I think recently they started playing touch, but it always gets physical. But it's been the Turkey Bowls, Long Beach guys getting together playing some old, street football. So it's like have you seen the movie Invincible with
Yeah.
Marky Mark and Mark
Hmm.
Wahlberg? They play that game in the parking lot. It's
Hmm.
something like that. It's without the rain
Hmm.
and some lights.
There you go. Yeah, it's nice seeing where everything's going on. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, out here, I know we had our second round yesterday, and as far as I know, there were no major upsets. Everybody's still expecting it to be Cherry Creek versus Valor Christian. So, Cherry Creek's pretty much the modern day of Colorado, and
Yep.
Valor, obviously, everybody knows that because of the McCaffrey boys that all went through there. So,
Yep.
if everything holds true, we'll be seeing them playing each other probably the weekend after Thanksgiving out here as well. So, but I mean, speaking about these rankings and a lot of teams having zeros, obviously we went down to four over this last weekend of college football, and rightfully so. All four teams are finally ranked in the top four. TCU finally getting the respect they deserve. Tennessee really only dropping to five. I didn't expect too much different out of that. But looking at a couple of these teams, seeing UCLA and Ole Miss not move up at all was kind of a shock to me. So I know you, obviously being a UCLA guy, other than your Bruins, did you see any other really big issues with this, or do you think they finally got this one right?
I think at this point it's okay. There's still a few weeks left for things to hash themselves out. The Michigan Ohio State thing's going to check themselves out. Somebody's going to lose.
Hmm.
So there'll be a spot for two one-loss teams. And if even with my Bruins, I don't think we're better than. I don't know if we're even better than LSU right now. Like we're good, but the way we
Hmm.
got exposed by Oregon, I think that weighed heavy with the voting committee. And then you think about, do we travel well? They're also setting up their money and their payday as well. They have to. It's a business at the end of the day. So some teams will get up there like LSU travels well, UCLA doesn't. And if it came down to a one-loss UCLA team and a two-loss LSU team to go to a strength of schedule, saying SEC is better than the Pac-12, and the best team in the Pac-12 got smashed by Georgia, and they're gonna make their narrative the way it is. I'm not surprised by it. I was pissed. A lot of polls didn't even have UCLA in the top 10.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, well, we have to put it down today versus Arizona. I'm gonna be going to that game later on, and then SC next week. I think SC dropped out of a couple of polls too because they're recognizing that SC doesn't play defense. So I just
Hmm.
know it's hard to tell. It's early, and then the computer generates the numbers they generate, and people just treat that just like the retreat the bowl championship series calculations, like the uh, uh, what do you call it? And when you vote, the 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 college, the electoral college. Like we don't know
Yeah,
what that
something like
is.
that.
We don't know who that is. We don't know who makes it up, but they're
Hmm.
making their decisions, and then they come out. But like I
Hmm.
said, I think the conference championships help because they got to play again against good talent for a chip, and you kind of see
Hmm.
what they really about at that point. It's good for us to hash things out, but it does give teams on the bubble one more chance to get back in there and show what they got in the end of the season. So if you lost early, like Oregon, I thought Bama was going to be in that same boat, but I think LSU's losses were early enough for them to stay in the conversation.
Hmm.
I don't think a two loss team should make it.
Hmm.
It'll be the best of the top four with one loss, and I think it'll be then who travels the best
Hmm.
at that point.
Yeah, because I know, kind of looking at the rankings here, Tennessee obviously having their one loss to Georgia, they're probably in the driver's seat for getting that number 4 spot. Obviously, with Ohio State and Michigan, unless that's super close of a game here
Right.
in a few weeks. But even then, I don't know if there's going to be enough to keep Tennessee out. Obviously, like you said, Oregon with their strength of schedule, obviously, if they take out the Oregon game and they or the Georgia game, and they've been dropping 40 plus points, so it's not like they're any weaker. USC, obviously, we know the Pac-12 still has to shake itself out, but I really think Clemson's kind of on the outside looking in, especially with unfortunately now ranked number 20 Notre Dame squad. So, but I
That
mean,
was
hey,
that was a bad loss, man.
it is. It
That
is a
Notre Dame
very
loss
bad
was
loss.
bad. Bad timing. The
Hmm.
way they lost was bad. Like I said, it's like, how did you lose? UCLA's loss to Oregon was bad. I
Hmm.
mean, they only lost by 15 points, but how they got to that
Yeah.
point was
Yeah.
just bad. Like, and I was like, yeah, I remember back in the days when teams used to run the score up because they
Hmm.
did points. They did points for, points against, and then like opponents.
Yep.
It feels like, man, you shouldn't lose this late and lose
Mhm.
like that. And that's kind of why I'm thinking Tennessee. They didn't do anything versus Georgia.
Mhm.
And I kind of like, well, we kind of saw that championship already. I don't think there's nothing
Mhm.
Tennessee could have done differently to
Right.
make the Georgia game come out any. Like I would think Oregon playing Georgia now would be different
Mhm.
because they got their groove, and Bo Nix is playing like a Heisman Trophy winner. But
Mhm.
we saw Hooker in his best against Bama, and
Yeah.
now we're saying Bama's not who they said we thought they were. So that kind
Mm-mm.
of diminishes that win. And I know it's not easy to win in Georgia, but they still look like they didn't have anything for Georgia. So I'm thinking, like you're saying, they're on in the driver's seat. But do we want to see Tennessee, Georgia again? I kind of want
Mhm.
to see Oregon, Georgia again. I don't know
Right.
how you feel about it, but I just know what could they do differently. Is this a game about adjustments? It's about adjustments in personnel. If my personnel just
Mhm.
can't handle, like we didn't see Jalen, what's the kid's name from Tennessee with 5 touchdowns versus Bama.
Oh, Jalen Hyatt.
We didn't see he couldn't get off the line of scrimmage. I mean,
Mm-mm.
he had his way with Bama, but he couldn't do anything versus Georgia. So there's a
Mhm.
big difference in talent there. But like you said, it'll shake itself out. They
Yeah.
might be in the driver's seat because they travel well. I don't know if it's because they're a better team than the Oregon, UCLA's, and TCU's.
Yeah. And the other thing that I just thought about too is because yeah, we did already see Tennessee, Georgia, but say Oregon does end up running the table here, we did also already see Oregon, Georgia. So it would have to be a way to convince the
Yeah,
voters to put them at number 3 and for some godforsaken reason keep TCU down at 4, just for the fresh matchup look.
yeah,
So, but I mean, just kind of looking at the rest of the top 25 here, I really don't see any big surprises here. I mean, Florida State finally is getting back in the mix after their slowish start as well. So, I mean, I'm hoping that we see a little bit of a mix up today, but, for something in my gut tells me we're going to see a lot of chalk too. But
Yeah.
another big thing coming out this week is, the Mid American Conference. They've always kind of dominated the midweek games, and Conference USA, for being another group of five conference, for them to get the TV deal with ESPN and CBS to start broadcasting their own version of midweek football, I think that's huge for a conference like that.
Yeah,
Just trying.
you get your own day. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what Monday Night Football was. You get
Mhm.
your own day, like nothing else is going on. Wednesday, Thursday games. I mean, and as far as working folks, it's something to look forward to. And if that's something you guys can handle over a sustained period of time and not kill the kids, never giving them a 3 day week coming off Saturday and playing on Wednesday. If they can work, if they make it work, make it work. Goes back to those Pee Wee days where we can find us a park, let's play.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but I mean, you're also looking at some of the schools that are finally going to get airtime. I mean, I think the biggest one is finally Liberty's going to get some national spotlight. They're going to be there, Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, Louisiana Tech. Because I know for a while back there in the mid 2000s, Louisiana Tech was always getting that random game, but they would always ball out on the big TV stage. So, but I mean, now with them getting the big time TV contract, I really don't see, CUSA dying like a lot of other conferences. They're always threatening to like fade away, or because of all the realignment. Obviously, the Big Ten becoming the Big 16 soon, the SEC growing to 16 soon as well. It wouldn't surprise me if the Big 12 grows to 16. Well, actually, they're going to. So it's just going to be a matter of, what can they do with their day? I don't know which day they've got, but for you to get ESPN and CBS, because I know CBS has always been big on hosting like only the SEC network or the
Right.
SEC teams, but for them to strike that deal for those midweek games, I think that's a huge gain for CUSA, and that's going to be a big bargaining chip here going forward too. Especially, obviously, with all the NIL, you could also say, "Hey, we're going to be playing on our own day. You don't have to worry about." Not having airtime against your Bamas, your Georgias, your Ohio States, your USCs, your UCLAs, things of that nature. So, kudos to them for getting that, because I think that's going to be big, especially for, well, not only for CUSA, but for all the group of five conferences, because now I feel like that's just going to open the door for every other conference to slowly get another TV deal. And I realize some schools will have to share days because obviously once the NFL starts, nobody's going to want to play on Sunday. So, you got 10 conferences, fight over 6 days. Y'all can make this work. I know you can.
Yeah, man. Money talks. And what it does is you kind of like you can get the advertisers in a corner. You got nothing going on Wednesday. You got nothing going on a Tuesday. Whatever day they choose, like you said, it's a recruiting tool.
Mhm.
I want to play when everyone's watching, and that's kind of what they've sold that to the NFL players. Wouldn't you like playing on Monday or Thursday? But my
Mhm.
week, I'm ready for a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday work day, and play on Thursday. And if I play on Sunday, it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday work week. Friday, Saturday
Mhm.
walkthroughs. You're messing up someone's pattern. But
Yeah.
the ticket is, if I'm not sure if they do, I don't think they do. When I play, it wasn't any difference. You play on Monday or Thursday, but in a 9 to 5 workplace and you're working overtime, you get time and a half. Well, in
Mhm.
this situation, it is not time and a half, but you get to be the only show of the night. And let's be honest, man, a lot of these guys just want to be seen.
Mhm.
Kids want to be showcased. Kids want to be on in television. They get home, watch the replay, they watch themselves, and it's a me, look at me generation. It's always been that way, guys. I mean, let's not sugarcoat that. People want to be seen. They're playing to the
Mhm.
stage. Sometimes you miss the roaring of the crowd, but ultimately you want to come back and say, "Hey, man, did you see me on TV?" I mean, you see it, man. You see Brent Musburger and them guys. You see people behind the fans, behind the broadcasters, waving and like, "Look at me, I'm on TV." They grab their cell phone. "Hey, man, you see me on TV? I'm on TV, man. Check me out."
Yeah.
Well, this is magnified, man. You get the, I mean, Notre Dame got their own
Mhm.
NBC deal. Nobody else has their own network, a major network, even though They've been down for many, many years. They have that one moment, like last week versus Clemson. They were on national TV whooping Clemson, and
Yeah.
it hurts my heart that DJ going to be in the transfer portal now.
Yeah. Yeah, that
And
he
everybody
is.
saw it. And everybody saw it. That's one thing. Be careful what you ask for because you might get it. Now you're on national TV stinking it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, kind of circling back, obviously Notre Dame did what they needed to do, but I know earlier you were saying, UCLA went up to Oregon and lost by 15. At least it was a road loss,
Yep.
not a home loss where at one point you were down 28 nothing.
Sheesh.
So, I mean, right now your loss is looking better than Clemson's. That's all I gotta say on that. But
Well,
kind of sticking with
didn't Clemson lose at Notre Dame? Wasn't that at Notre Dame? Was that? They were at Clemson.
yeah,
I
they were
thought.
at home.
No, wait. I thought
Yeah,
I saw
Clemson was
DJ's
at home.
dad at Touchdown Jesus last week. I thought I saw him. Wasn't that at Notre Dame?
It might have been. I could very
I thought it
well
was
be
at.
wrong in this.
Yeah, I think that's a big because they rushed the field. I thought, didn't they? The Clemson Notre Dame game was at Notre Dame.
Oh, it was at Notre Dame. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it doesn't look as bad. It just still
Yeah.
looks bad. It's not a good
Yeah.
Notre Dame team. It's not the greatest Notre Dame team in the world.
Mhm.
And Clemson didn't look good.
Right. Yeah, no, especially if Marshall can beat them at touchdown Jesus, if Stanford can beat you at touchdown Jesus. But number 4 in an almighty Dabo falls. And I don't know, was it you or Martin that called the upset alert on that one?
Martin, I didn't
It
call
was
that
Martin.
one.
All right.
I'm pulling for
Well,
DJ, but it's not working.
well,
I
I
don't know.
mean, I'll tell you what. If he shows up, I got his $2 bet right here from you.
$2
So,
bet. That's some
yep.
hurt.
And
Two
the
dollar
thing
bet.
is, I mean, man, I went out and got $2 bills just for you, just for today. This way you can
Oh,
actually do a $2
my
bet.
dog, my big dog,
So,
big dog. I got
yeah,
one $2 bill in my wallet. I keep it there. So I was
yeah.
like, I don't want to give this up. It's my only $2 bill.
Oh, yeah.
But I bet you we gonna win
Yep.
my
So,
lucky $2 bill.
yeah, definitely. But kind of sticking with UCLA here, the news coming out of your guys' home stadium, the Rose Bowl, trying to figure out how exactly they're going to stay, I guess, pertinent with the new college football playoff expansion. So I don't know if you've heard about this, but I guess the Rose Bowl committee's been really butting heads with the CFP with this, and obviously they still want to be the marquee game, but they're not 100% sure how they're going to fit into this. So I don't know if it's been news out there where you are, because obviously you're literally right down the block. But what are your feelings about that?
It's the granddaddy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the granddaddy of them all. The Rose Bowl. I mean, that's part of the reason why I chose UCLA to play college football because of playing at the Rose Bowl and that nice golf course football field. Um, how do you not have the Rose Bowl as one of your top bowl games for the bowl championship series? Is what's the
Mhm.
alternative and the other bowls that they have in mind? But I'm like, well, shoot, what are we doing? And it goes back to tradition.
Mhm.
It goes back to expectation. Just us fans and just having that moment you're sitting down. Remember hearing Keith Jackson, it's the granddaddy of them all. I mean, like some of those things we can keep those things. Those are good things, but again, it's gonna come back down to money.
Mhm.
Who has the sponsorships? And it comes back to um, you know, bids. Like
Mhm.
Anthony Price says, is the Rose Bowl bigger than the Sugar Bowl? As far as spectacle or numbers of seats, or because is it the All State Sugar Bowl?
Mhm.
All State's probably going to put up more money. What can the
Yeah.
Rose Bowl put up? I'm not sure who the Rose Bowl sponsor is. I think it changes year to year.
Yeah.
Uh, it's money, man. It comes down to money. It's saying they're saying screw tradition. Just like going back to not having a BCS when it was AP poll, coaches poll. The things that
Mhm.
we used to love about college football, eventually they're gonna say, how much money can we make? And that's kind of what we're gonna be stuck with as fans. It's like, man, it used to be Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, and
Yep.
But that's going to be a thing in the past because it's going to come to the highest bidder. And I get it.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll be upset, I'll be disappointed, but if nothing else, maybe the second place, Pac-12 team gets in because the first place Pac-12 team is going to the BCS and it's the Fiesta Bowl and the Sugar Bowl and the Orange Bowl, whoever else they have in that four. Because how
Mhm.
many games there will be?
So
Four
so
teams.
once they expand to 12, it'll be. Hold up, now I gotta think about this.
It'll be six
'Cause they gotta
games.
go
6 games.
yeah,
It'll be
12
six
to 8,
games.
8 to 4, 4 to 2.
How do you
So
not have the Rose Bowl if you
4,
got
4,
six
10.
six
Yeah,
stadiums? 6 stadiums.
yeah,
You can't pick the Rose Bowl in the 6 stadiums. And then you have how many rounds? 3 rounds, right?
yeah.
Six games. And they all come out, and then you'll have a. How does that work? If you got 6
So
games,
so from what I've understood, the 5, 6, 7, and 8 seeds each would host the 9, 10, 11, 12 seeds respectively at their home stadium. And then they move on, and then obviously the lowest seed goes against number one, so on and so forth. But I think when it gets down to that second round, I don't know if that's when they split off into the bigger bowls or if they once again play at the higher seeds home stadium. And then they get to the final four, and then that's where they start doing it at the bowl games. I'm not 100% sure how
hmm,
they're going to work that out. And I think that's what the Rose Bowl's concern is exactly how does their bowl game fit into all this, or is it going to affect their pageantry and their tradition of having over 100 years playing New Year's Day mid-afternoon,
hmm.
so it'll be interesting to see how exactly that all works out. But yeah, obviously you'd have to expect the Rose Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, and the Orange Bowl all to still play major factors. Obviously, we know the Peach Bowl and the Cotton Bowl have always kind of been the de facto um, New Year's Six Bowls as well. So I know that they're going to find a way to get cycled in, but kind of like with what you were saying, it's going to come down to the wallets. Who's going to end up paying the most to actually end up hosting it. Now, granted, I could definitely see somebody like, you know, the Pinstripe Bowl because they're fronted by the Yankees. Is it going to become who's got the deepest wallet gets the biggest game type of deal? Or are they going to try to stick to the traditions of, trying to keep the big four stadiums or the big four bowls and keep that, you know, feeling of it being the true big four?
Yeah, it
So,
does.
I
It's
mean,
about the money, man. It's about
it
the money.
is. It is, but I definitely hope that they get that fixed here very soon, and we also get a little clarity as fans. Key obviously also coming through saying hey to us this morning.
What's up, Keith?
Obviously, our friends over here with the rest of the network, so I know they're watching. And I think today's our first episode being on TV too. So to our Fox D viewers, we can't see you, but hi.
Mommy, look at me, mama. I'm on TV.
Yeah. This might sound stupid, but are all the bowl games on TV like the low bowl games? Yeah. Yeah,
That's
whether it
not
be on
stupid.
ESPN, ESPN2, ABC. Obviously, the bigger games are going to get on the bigger networks. But other than that, ESPN and ESPN2 have been really good about making sure every bowl gets broadcast. So, but obviously, like we were saying, the money's going to talk. Eventually, I can see the network starting to fight for who's going to broadcast it. Because I know ABC on ESPN, obviously, they have it for the next couple of years, broadcasting the big game. But beyond that, I mean, I really think it could be an absolute crapshoot there.
Yep.
So, but last thing I want to get into before the games here is a little bit of recruiting shenanigans going on down there in Florida as Jaden Rashada, the number 7 rated quarterback in the class of 2023, uh, decommitting from the U to go north to Gainesville and go party in the swamp. So, I
I
mean,
think,
if Miami wasn't down bad enough already,
I
you're
think,
losing a recruit to another school in state.
I think Martin came in just in time
He
because we
Yeah,
really
talking
did
about
for
the U.
this.
We
I'm
talking
not.
about the U.
I
I'm not
didn't
making
even
that
plan that
conversation
either.
already. In Why you got to start already? It's
Hey
too
man,
early.
hey man, I
U
went through
lost
my
the
other
top
big three
recruit.
subjects, man. Okay.
He was like, they about to talk about the U. Let me hop on here real quick.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but
Just
at the same time, he was already wanted to go to Florida.
Mhm.
He wanted to play in the SEC, but I guess this quarterback situation in Florida changed. So I mean, we still got Emory Williams, we still got Ja'Cory Brown. You know, the transfer portal gonna pump out a lot of quarterbacks this season. So and I just did a video last night talking about Miami's pregame and that commit. You know, Tyler and Jake is up in the air. You know, depends on what Tyler does from this point on, whether they shut him down the rest of the season and let him get healed and come back. I really believe Jake is the one going to be gone, most or foremost. So it's going to be really interesting because they was talking about we have two more recruits that might be leaving. Don't know who they are yet. So, you know, I'm digging in the archive for that answer.
It's never good to lose a recruit like that
Yeah.
because it's a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids so fickle. They see a kid jump ship and they start thinking about opening up their recruitment too.
Yeah.
And it's just trends, man. I mean, shoot, when you was looking to see your boy, hey man, I decommitted. What you gonna do? Hey man, I don't know. Man, you should come down to Florida with me. It happens all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
Miami is not in position at this moment in time to
Yeah.
lose a big recruit like that because other kids looking. One of my dreams growing up was to go to the U as a kid watching the 80s and watching Michael Irvin and them do it. um I would have been like, yo, yeah. And but then my homeboys always influenced me to where we going, like what we gonna do. You don't want to be the only one. And like you said, if it's gonna be an exodus out of Miami, that's not good
Yeah.
because they were just getting more kids in. They were just starting to get them kids again. It's got to be a special group to change it, and then it got to be a special group to hang around, not keep jumping in the
Yeah.
portal when things go bad. So it's unfortunate, but it's part of the business, man. And then when a big name kid like that
Mm-hmm.
jumps off the wagon, it's like, sheesh, who's going to stick around and stay in that batch of 20 kids that's going to be special and change the narrative from Miami Hurricane football? I just think that was a big hit because these kids are so fickle and they
Yeah.
copy. They don't want to be leaders. They want to be followers and say we are the best recruiting class. If I come in here as the big dog on campus, as our show was aptly named,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have big shoulder pads to carry that weight. And I don't know if a
Yeah.
lot of kids have that. They want to come into a comfortable situation. Like like Travis Hunter going to Jackson State. That took huge cojones, man, to go from a sure thing at Florida State, Miami, or any other big Power Five program and go to a HBCU and still be a top 10 pick
Mm-hmm.
as he's projected to be because his talent level is that much. And I'll bring that back to how important Prime is in his life as far as the confidence and the belief that it doesn't matter where you play at, it's your game is going to show. Now, it does help that your team is winning. So I think these kids not going to Miami, they saw that loss. That loss against Florida State
Mm-hmm.
was the nail in the coffin for any kids that were on the fence. And
Yeah.
the same thing happens out this way. I saw a kid from Long Beach probably going to USC, Dylan Williams. USC has a pretty good game, and then he saw UCLA dominate Utah. He says, "I'm going to open up my recruitment," and these kids will just in one game, watching one game, change their choice of school based on what they saw. Like, I don't want to be a part of this. It was funny last night at the football game. My son said, "When I was a kid, you took me to the UCLA Stanford game. I cried. Like I was like, I want to go to Stanford now because Stanford destroyed UCLA, and I don't like losing." And it's just that simple, man. Kids are victims of the moment, and when Miami lost that way, how they lost to Florida State, probably
Yeah.
pretty much changed his
I,
mind, man.
I pretty much was afraid of that game because my thinking is like, okay, we got all our top receivers back. You know, everybody's back. I understand the offensive line is not as good right now, but they have, did some things the last couple of weeks. And I'm like, hey, Tyler Van Dyke came back. I wasn't really confident for him to come back because a shoulder injury takes at least weeks, you know what I'm saying, to completely heal.
Mhm.
And for him to rush back and re-injure it, and I was like, why? Save him for himself. He has NFL future. Say, hey, we're gonna shut you down for the rest of the year. You know, whether we go get a bowl or not, you come back next year. You could draft your stock. He already got it in a NIL deal with Miami. There was talk about he might go somewhere else, projected to get another deal or whatever. But I said, well, if he doesn't, because he's a redshirt sophomore, Garcia is a redshirt freshman, Ja'Cory is a true freshman, so they still could come back together. Now, not like I said, I'm not so sure about Jake because he's the one that struggled a lot this year, in games that he came in. I think Tyler and Ja'Cory will be the bridge in whatever they bring in. But with the NIL and the transfer portal getting like super crazy, and the way Miami just I can't even say underperform. They just negative perform against Florida State. You sold out that stadium probably for the first time in a while or years, and just the go in there and not have a clue how to deal with anything that Florida State was doing. You was bad on offense. You definitely was bad on defense, special teams, everything, and it sent a shockwave, just like you said, AC. It sent a shockwave, and I'm so surprised that the two, because they got 19 commits coming from the 2023 class. I'm surprised a lot of them went on social media and told, say, hey, we staying, we committed, we doing this, and that's a good thing, you know what I'm saying? But if Miami lose today, and I don't expect them to be Clemson, that means they could lose a lot more
You gonna
going.
here?
You know what I'm saying? So they have to win this game today because if they don't win this game today, those recruits gonna look like, okay, regardless you got Mario or not, we gotta go get some opportunities to play somewhere else. Because how can Mario say, well, yeah, we building something here, but it's not showing. Yeah, and like I said Tuesday night on my show, is that it don't. Everybody wants to appoint Mario and say, hey, we pay you $80 million. You got to think, it takes time. Yes, some coaches have success, some don't. But it takes time to get your players in and get rid of the guys that's been there for so long under the regime. Now, but still, you have to go out there and perform at some kind of level just to make sure, like, say, well, Ian and AC looking to come to the U, and you 4-5, or you struggling to make a bowl. How can we have any confidence coming in and say, hey, we can break this program up if you not having some kind of consistency? I don't care if Miami was 5-6 right now or something. At least have something out there to show and say, hey, we are trying to make a change.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be very interesting. And obviously, like you guys have said, with the NIL deals and things of that nature, a whole lot of me culture, but I do feel like there is still a little bit of the we culture as well. Obviously, we were talking about Travis Hunter making the big jump from Florida State to go to Jackson State, and obviously he's made it work. But I mean, Florida State didn't get down bad either. I mean, they just signed a number 4 receiver as well for the 2023 class. So it's not like they're having an issue, but I mean, I definitely agree. I think Miami's a little bit on the downside because of this, but I wouldn't say they're as bad as, say, like an A&M, who's literally recruits losing players and recruits what almost seems daily at this point. But to your guys' credit, they want to be the ones to flip the program, but they were promised all these different things, and nobody's been able to flip that program. Whether it's been with Sumlin or Jimbo or whoever, it doesn't matter who you put in that backfield. It just hasn't worked out. So I'm just wondering if we'll see a little bit more of that. Obviously, I think we still got one more big signing day in January or February. Is that correct?
I
February.
know national. I know signing day is in December. I was reading all of this last night. That I know signing day is around. I think around the 23rd of December, something like that. And I also just read that SMU players is shutting themselves down too, saving themselves for the transfer portal and the NFL. So I mean, they predict a lot of teams, a lot of players from different teams is going to start doing that. You know, you got what, 3 games left for the season and the conference championship. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And this is honestly when I expected players to start dropping, especially if they knew that they weren't going to be like bowl eligible, but they know they at least have the talent to get some sort of draft stock or their agent's been in their ear or things of that nature. So, but obviously with the mass exodus, I mean, even if you're still in contention to maybe even go like 8-4, I would still play it out,
Mm-hmm.
just to keep showing them, hey, I'm not going to give up on the team because I'm still in the mindset of I don't care how down bad you are, you still play the full 60. You play it every day.
Yeah.
So just giving up early, I've always had an issue with that, but maybe that's just me.
It's just you because kids are starting to get to that me thought process. Like if our team is going to be trash, I mean, I'll bring up the game I went to last night.
Okay.
Seniors are pissed off. This is their last game. Juniors and sophomores, they start dancing, start clowning around because they got more time. So you imagine when you're in college and you're a prospect, your future is different. Your next few months is going to be different than a lot of these kids where this is it. So you take into account my future. My corporation is me, my legs, my arms, my shoulders, my neck. So
Mm-hmm.
I can't even get mad when a kid says I'm not playing anymore this year. I'm projected to be a first round draft pick. Um, yeah, you're saying screw the team, but when I see my fellow teammates on the sideline dancing and laughing and playing, all the off season is gonna be fun. Or oh man, this was a tough season. Oh man, we suck. I'm start thinking about okay, since y'all gonna give up on the season, I'm gonna have to go ahead and shut it down on y'all because clearly we don't have the same desire. We don't have the same drive. I worked super hard. You guys took it easy. I'm trying to stay clean. Y'all over here smoking weed. I mean, these players see their teammates every day. And
Right.
it takes a special team to make a guy say, I have NFL aspirations. I'm going to be a draft pick. I'm going to play this season now because I love you guys. But if I don't see y'all do it day in and day out, and I see you guys going through the motions, and I have an investment, I have an insurance policy, I have all this stuff in place, it is very hard for me to see a kid playing for a meaningless ball game for a school who doesn't want to pay me, where I have to fight for my NIL deal, stick around and mess up my $1 million if I'm gonna make the NFL. So I totally get it. I would play it through because I'm a different kind of guy. I kind of love my teammates as we go through the blood, sweat, and tears of camp and Hell Week and all those things. But today's kid, I don't know. I would probably shut it down too because I got a lot more to lose, and ain't nobody gonna do nothing except, "Hey man, sorry what happened to you, bro. Yeah, we gonna win this for you, man. Let's win this. Let's win this game for Cubs, man. He put it on the line for us, man." And you see him come in the locker room, man. Did we win? No, man, we lost. It's I can't put myself in anybody else's shoes and make a decision for them when it's their corporation, their future, it's their livelihood at stake. So do I agree with it? Not every situation. Like I told a kid this year, you don't have to play. You already have a scholarship. You already have an NIL deal. You're set. Why are you playing? I want to win a championship, and I respected that. And
Yeah.
and it doesn't come up the way you want it to come out. And sometimes you roll the dice and you lose, and that's unfortunate. Like Willis McGahee was a lucky one. Sometimes you have a knee injury or something really big in
But
in a
yeah.
game, and you jeopardize your future. But a lot of these guys projected a third round, projected second round. I'm sitting out the Liberty Bowl. I'm sitting out the Holiday Bowl. I don't want to. If you're not a first round pick, play because you can better your stock by having a good bowl game. And that's kind of what I suggest. But again,
Yeah.
How are you going to tell somebody what to do?
Right. Yeah, no, and that was kind of my thoughts too. Like, if you're not a guaranteed, like, locked first round pick, play it through. I mean, you know, you've got to find a way to get more tape in front of the scouts, and that's the way you do it rather than just dropping early. But I don't know, because I just feel like if you drop early, I feel like a lot of kids nowadays, they might also end up changing their workout regimen because they're not in the weight room day in, day out. They're not worried about their nutrition day in, day out. They're just worried about, oh, I'm going to go chase the bag, where you still have to be able to be physically fit, be NFL physically ready, because obviously we all know the game changes from college to pro with speed, strength, everything of that nature. So it's hard for me. I'm with you on this one, AC. It's hard for me to see myself, if I was in that position, just bailing when I know I would have a chance. I mean, yes, I understand there's the injury factor, but there's so many positives to be like, hey, I've got a chance to maybe bump myself up around, or maybe move myself from the second day onto the first day, or even those kids in the fourth, fifth, and sixth rounds, they can hop up into a day two type situation. So
That's it. I mean, every opportunity is just that. This might be the game. This might be the one opportunity you get to like the Senior Bowl is cute,
mhm.
but there's no guarantee you're gonna have a game that day. Ain't nobody really watching the Senior Bowl but a couple of scouts. They already know who they're gonna draft. You're gonna have your pro day, you have your combine for those who aren't invited. But it's a chance to put it on film. Look at Twitter. Look at all these kids trying to make film, trying to get their film seen. And then when you get to college, your film is so much more impactful on your future. Every like a pick six for a DB in a bowl game could be the determining factor if they get drafted in the second or fifth round. If you display your talent one more time, your cone drills are cute on Instagram, and your name is cute, but you have to put it on film, man. You got to put it on film versus talent, because you're doing some great stuff versus Alabama State, but did you do it against Alabama? And then did you shy away from talent? Because you have to answer that question as well. Why didn't you play in the big game? We wanted to see you play one more time. I want to preserve myself for the league. Like, we don't know if you're gonna make the league, bro. We need to see you play. I mean, because you think your body of work is being seen by everybody, but it has not, unless you're getting that notoriety and that publicity. And a lot of times, if a kid is not a shoe-in first round pick, it's because everybody has not seen you play. Man. You can't make the club sitting at the house. You got to make plays. So unless you are first round bona fide first round pick, play. That's my advice.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, because it could be the difference for your stock going up and your stock going down. And especially when it gets down to the combine and everything, and then you don't perform well. And then that's another thing that you got to deal with, because, for instance, like I was high on two safeties last year in the draft. Kyle Hamilton for Notre Dame, which I love because he had that body like Sean Taylor, and Bubba Bolden. He was more like what's the safety that played for Seattle back then? Earl Thomas. He was more of Earl Thomas size, but faster. And him and Kyle Hamilton numbers was pretty solid evenly, but Kyle was a little bit taller and bigger than him. And we was doing the draft order, and find out what the Commanders could use at that position. And I said, well, we don't get Kyle Hamilton, let's get Bubba Bolden. He's similar. He can move sideline. And he got injured one year for Miami, and I think he missed the whole season. And now he made it to the NFL, but I know early on in the season he got cut by somebody. I think he plays with Seattle right now. I don't hear much from him right now, but that just goes to show, like, if you get injured in a year and you don't come back and perform well, and then you go to the NFL and you don't perform there in the combine, a lot could affect how you get drafted. You know, you hear Mel Kiper and Thomas Shea all the time, high on guys they pick. And then some of these, they watch a lot of football, they watch a lot of college, and they know certain players that could make certain rosters. Now, do they be right all the time? Absolutely not. But at the same time, as we watch college football, we could dissect and say, well, hey, he could be a second round or third round pick or day 3 or whatever the case might be. So I agree with you, AC. Is you don't want to hurt yourself getting injured, but at the same time, you got to think about your stock value also.
It's like an NBA player saying, I'm not going to play pickup basketball because I might get hurt. How are you going to play basketball? How are you going to get better at basketball if you don't play basketball?
Yeah.
And football, I mean, yes, it's a lot more dangerous than playing basketball. But if that was the case, then one kid has one good game, they'll shut it down. You see my one game. You see what I can do. They want to see a body of work. Case in point, the scouts were recruiting my kid and a lot of other kids that I'm helping out. They want to see the third game, fifth game, and then the entire season highlight. They want to see you in a long stretch of games to see if you are truly that kid. Are you that dude? We had one kid this year balled out the first game. Like he was going to be a dude. I mean, he's all over the field, offense and defense. Got to some tough games. He tapped out. Didn't want to play. Oh, my back. Oh, my neck and my back. Oh, my back. He was coming up with excuses, and we're like, dude,
I can imagine.
What happened to that kid? So it's a body of work and over a period of time. Now, they might take a chance on a quarterback who had a great season, and that's not been working out. Have you seen so many busts over the years of a one quarterback having a great season and then they're not panning out because they haven't had a big enough sample size? The more you put on film, the better your chances of getting someone to say, hey, this kid is who we think he is. If you got a small sample size, you got some video of you doing cones with shorts and a t-shirt on, that's not football. It's different than basketball, man. You can go out there and play in the LA Fitness versus some plumbers and lawyers, and you dominating, and then say, let's give this guy an opportunity on potential. Football is different, man. You got to get out there and show what you're going to do when it's going bad. What you're going to do when you're not having a great game? Are you still going to find a way to make a play? And that's what a largest sample size does. And I think these kids are beneficiaries of TikTok and Twitter and YouTube, where they can post their highlights to the world and not have to be exposed to that one bad game they had. But these scouts stop being lazy and watch everything. They'll get the kid that they need to get, because you figure your livelihood is on who you bring back to the team. Who are we recruiting and who are we bringing in? And if I know everything I need to know about this kid, character down to skill, you have a good opportunity to bring in a viable starter at some point. But if I don't see you playing the big games, I'm not sure what I got.
Exactly.
Yeah, and kind of a case in point with shutting it down way too early, in their opinion. I mean, first name that popped in my head when that came up was immediately Trey Lance. We never got to see him face adversity or anything like that. And to be fair, obviously can't prevent the injury that he had. But I think it would have been nice to see a little more body of work out of him, before saying, oh, yeah, one game shows that he's going to be the number 3 pick in the NFL draft over, 250 other people who've been busting their butts for an entire season. Yeah. So, but... I think we're all in agreement on that. But, just kind of looking at some of these games, there's some that I just don't understand. This whole fascination of Texas and the media trying to say that they're back and giving Texas what is moved now to being favored by 7 points against number 4 TCU. I don't understand it. I really don't. What is the media got against this TCU squad?
Let me tell you, they want TCU to lose so they could put one of their SEC teams in there, or whatever the case may be, because TCU is messing up their dynamics of what they trying to pull off. And I'm glad TCU is throwing it's what you how we say it, throw
Throw a wrench into plans.
Yeah, so I'm glad they doing it. I was all for it last. We talked about it last week. I was all for the Cincinnati situation, and I'm all for the TCU situation right now. And I mean, and if TCU was to get bumped off, which I don't think they will, you know what I'm saying? Then you got Oregon sitting there too, because their only bad loss is Georgia. You got UCLA sitting there also. You got USC that played last night. I mean, they ran over Colorado, but it's still
yeah. We don't talk about that out here.
So
I could have played in that game. I would have scored against Colorado too.
I know. I probably could have walked up and down the field and scored while getting touched.
I could have started for Colorado.
So, but I just think that there's too many scenarios for like Tennessee put themselves in a really good situation. But me personally, I think they should have dropped lower because they got ran off the field by Georgia. And I just feel like everybody else had made a lot of progress through the season. If you lose late, then you late to the dinner. That's just simple it is. But we know how the committee operate. They so hung up on the SEC to as sick as me. That's why I root for the Pac. I root for the Big Ten. I root for the ACC. You know what I'm saying? I root for the underdogs because I do be wanting to see the SEC get taken out. I ain't gonna lie to you not. Now I'm from Georgia. I'm not gonna lie. Every chance I see them. Now, if it's somebody different that deserves to be up there, then yeah, I'm all for them. Playing. Like Tennessee, Georgia. This probably be their second trip to the national championship if they prevail. But at the same time, did you know how good it made me feel that Alabama lost last week?
Tell them why you mad, son. Tell them why you mad.
Like Mr. Sherman say, you mad, bro?
He's an SEC mad, SEC hater.
And if they lose today, man, I'm about to probably be a social media publicist from the day because I'm looking for any chance that they get taken out more. I was glad that Clemson got knocked off because I got tired of hearing people kept saying, "Oh, we deserve to be there." No, you don't. You really played poorly all year. You skated away, and then you got put in the number 4 position. Thank you, Notre Dame. Even though I don't like y'all that much, but thank you for giving me that. Louisville, give me something good this weekend too. But I like to see parity. I get tired of seeing the same thing. Now, if you're the defending champion and you won the championship last year, then all mean you had the right to defend your crown. You had the right to go all the way to the top and say, hey, we still the team to beat. You know what I'm saying? Just like in the NFL, if you go to the Super Bowl, you had that title to come back to do it again. If you get knocked off along the way, there ain't no pole to rank you back up there, and that's my thing. I want, and it's going to be worse. It's going to be even worse when they put the 12 teams in, because then you're really going to see what that gauntlet are going to look like with all the good teams being in there and who's going to come out on top. I mean, so it's going to be very, very interesting, but no, I agree with Ian. Texas should not be favored in this game. I think they just make it, want to make it look good. Now, if Texas didn't lost their quarterback in the beginning of the season earlier when they were playing Alabama, they're all for it, you know what I'm saying? Because that would have been a real signature win. Matter of fact, Alabama would probably have 4 losses by now. Whew. So,
hey, man, it works, though. I want to see the game. I really want to see the game. I think the reason, not only for money in Vegas and stuff like that with the line, the bowl championship series kind of want to get TCU out of there because they already know that it's going to be a drubbing, whoever they play against, so to speak. But putting out those types of odds makes the game more interesting. As you put in, this is TCU's biggest game in how many years? This is a big program game, whereas Texas has not beaten the top five team in home since 1999. I believe that might have been UCLA. Was that Ricky Williams? I'm thinking. But you
It
know,
would have been that year or the
yeah.
year
So,
after.
but
Yeah.
so these type of like bullet points makes for a good audience. Like it makes for a good television rating. It makes. I hate to say it, man. It always comes back to money. It's like if you can't take money out the equation, and when you have a top 25 matchup, and you have a team on the cusp of being in the top 4, you got money because all the advertisers want to be a part of that game. All the advertisers and all the NIL deals and all these other things. Texas has all these NIL deal kids, and Texas has the Manning kid coming in. So Texas must be back. We've seen Texas play. They're all right. Sarkisian's getting a couple of recruits in there, but it's still Sarkisian. I hope he's not drinking again. We hope he's staying sober. I mean, shoot. But TCU should win this game. Texas ain't doing a whole lot, but if they're coming in as a 7-point favorite,
Yeah, 7 points, but
how do
not
young
only,
folks say? Houseway.
yeah, houseway. Kyle coming in saying they rewarded Tennessee for beating LSU and Bama in back-to-back weeks, putting them at 5.
They're good right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say they're probably still the best one-loss team out there.
Yeah.
Well, LSU has 2 losses.
Or
LSU has 2 losses. Oh, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They beat a sorry LSU team. They weren't ready yet.
Mm-hmm. But LSU came ready to play in the Valley of Death, as we like to call it.
Don't play at night.
Exactly. You never play them at night. And by the way, Martin, did you ever get AC his $2?
It was a push.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all pushed?
It was a push because I said he wouldn't score, but I did say Tennessee was going to win.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because I was going to say, I got your $2 bill right here. So
I said pay me in dimes. I don't want no money. I want the kind that make noise.
I mean, see here,
I like that.
Money ASMR up in here on a weird Saturday morning. How about that?
I still say that I maybe it's just me overthinking. I still say Tennessee might still get in.
They could.
I mean,
they travel well. They sell tickets. They sell jerseys. You're definitely right.
Because the thing about it is, the Michigan-Ohio State thing is a factor.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I don't see TCU losing. I just don't. And to your point, when they say Texas is back, I mean, Texas hasn't been back since Vince Young. So, I mean, they still struggling to find that magic, and then they're going over to the SEC. So that's going to be an uphill battle itself. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if Peyton, Eli, and Archie all play together in Texas. That's going to be a gauntlet by itself. Now if you got real good recruits and you compete really well and you ran through that gauntlet like that, hey, more power to you. Then I could say, you know what, hey, you did that. Do it for 2 years straight. Do it for 3 years. Do it for 5 years. Then I could say, hey, you back, but not just back because you had a few good highlight games here and there. That's just like how they keep saying about the U. Oh, the U back. No, stop. Don't do that. You jinxing this team. They not back. They surviving. That's what I'm saying. They surviving. When they back, I know when they back. Give me 3 consistent 10+ win years, bowls, chance to go into the college playoffs. You know what I'm saying? That's when I say, okay, yeah, they back. But not just, we got 6-7 wins. The U back. We got no. Right then and there, I get off that train real fast. I do like Tom Cruise on Mission Impossible. I jump real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what Oklahoma does too when they make it over there.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they fit in. But I know you were saying that you thought TCU could run the table. If we go by the numbers, the analytics and the computers are only giving TCU a 15% chance of running the table. Obviously, with Texas this week and Baylor the week after. But this is also the first time. What's up?
I was doing Arnold.
Oh.
It was like, what you talking about, Willis?
Oh, yeah.
First.
Yeah. But not only that, this is the first time since 1978 that a top 5 team has been anything more than a 6.5 point underdog. So I don't know, but I think that they got this one wrong. I really do. And I understand that both offenses are pretty well fired up. I think they're both averaging over 7 points or 7 yards per play and over 3 points per drive. So they don't get stopped very often. So
Yeah.
I can see that one being a shootout, but
What time is that game? What time that game come on?
That one is gonna be the nightcap. That is 7:30 Eastern on ABC.
All right, because
So
I'm going
that's
to the UCLA game, so I might miss that game. I'm gonna be no, I can catch it. It'll be 4:30 West Coast time.
Yep.
I'm going to the
Then
UCLA
it
game
will.
about 5:36, so I can catch the first half and watch the rest on my phone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they've done their job. I want to see how it works out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, another thing that I want to see get worked out is the SEC West because there is chaos afoot. Obviously, with LSU beating Bama, they put themselves in the driver's seat. Now, obviously, if they win, I believe if they win and if Alabama beats Ole Miss, LSU clinches the SEC West today.
Wow.
But if LSU loses and Ole Miss beats Alabama, Ole Miss goes to the top of the SEC West.
Wow.
So
you talking about confusion and chaos.
Yeah.
That's why they play the game.
Yeah. And I know
Herb Everest now.
That's why they play the game.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I know I didn't list it, but I mean, it's hard not to talk about that because it'll be the first time in God, what feels almost a decade that Bama's not going to show up in the SEC title game. Or I think they have like maybe a 2% chance.
I wrote off LSU early on. I'm like, they're not ready. Jane Daniels ain't ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
But they came back like gangbusters, man. And who thought Bama would go backwards? Nobody saw that. But I think Nick saw it in his animosity towards Jimbo Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
We got to buy some more players. I mean,
they need to do something.
We got to buy some. I got to open them pocketbooks.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see what Alabama does from here on out. Because it's not going to get easy for them. Teams in their own division coming for their neck. And if Auburn finds a good coach and gets that program back to a little bit decency, it's going to be even tougher for Alabama. Because especially when you schedule to play Auburn and LSU in the same year, that definitely could be trouble, So I mean, I think, man, I am rooting for Ole Miss to beat Alabama though. I really want Lane Kiffin to get this win under him. It's gonna be tough because Alabama, they feeling kind of not ripe in the pants right now because of that loss last week. So, but I think LSU could. I mean, not LSU, but Ole Miss could do it. Just to send another blow to Nick Saban.
I just realized I'm a hater just like Martin. I want Bama to lose too. Like am I a hater? Like, am I? I just had that moment like, oh, you're a hater. Because I don't have no reason. I don't have a dog in the fight. I like to see him lose.
You know how you had that angel on one side of your shoulder and the devil on one side? I got both devils on both sides of the shoulder. That's how much I'm a hater right now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, kind of like what you said, Martin, I'm always here for parity. And, if Ole Miss can do the unthinkable and send Bama to another L today, I mean, I'd be happy too. But one of Bama's weaknesses has always been against a running quarterback. I mean, we saw that against Tennessee. Now, granted, Hooker only ran for 56 yards, but it was something. And last week, Jaden Daniels with LSU, he ran for 95. Jackson Dart likes to run. Ole Miss themselves like to run. I think they're averaging over 300 rushing yards per game right now.
Ooh.
So, I mean, the blueprint is there. You've already seen it twice in conference. I don't if Lane Kiffin doesn't take advantage of that, I don't see that's such a missed opportunity if he hasn't been spying that at all.
Everybody needs to go back, watch Johnny Manziel versus Bama. 2 seasons in a row. Beats Bama by himself because he's the 12th man. No defense accounts for the quarterback unless you have a spy. But if you have weapons on the outside, you have a good tailback, decent tight end, you don't have anybody left to spy the quarterback. And that's the blueprint. If you have a mobile quarterback, he ain't got to run for 100 yards. He got to get 3 first downs. And that's usually the difference in the game, is him being a weapon at the end. Go back. You mentioned Vince Young earlier. Vince Young was the X factor every game. Like, you can cover everything. You cover Shipley. You cover all them good receivers they had. We forgot to cover Vince Young. And that's the key, man. If you can have that 12th man as a threat, I mean, Jackson Dart doesn't have to run for 50 yards. He needs to run for 32 yards, 3 first downs. And that'll be the camel break. What breaks the camel's back. And Bama's. I mean, this is the year to get some. I mean, if you're gonna get some of Bama, this is the year to get some. They're reeling. They don't know what to do. The identity. This is the first time I haven't seen them having an identity. Are they gonna throw the ball? Are they gonna run the ball? What's Bryce Young gonna do? We don't know what they're gonna do, and that's why they are where they are. They've been exposed. So anybody wants some of Bama, this is the year to get some.
I agree, because boy, they ripe for the picking right now, and their defense is really bad. Their defense is really
never
bad.
See that. You never see that.
You can run and pass on them, and if you got a good defense, and it's usually be one or the other. You couldn't pass on them, but you could run on them. You couldn't run on them, but you could pass on them. Now it's both this time. And then they're not even protecting the quarterback as much either. So if you could get to Bryce Young and rally him up a lot, you see what he looked like last week, making mistakes, throwing uncharacteristic throws. So, and to your point, running quarterbacks always hurt them. And you're right, Johnny Manziel was the X factor back then. He did it to them, and you just even Deshaun Watson, when they played in the championship, he did it to him. So there's ways to beat Bama, but do teams take the opportunity to try to have a different game plan than what has been presented on a blueprint of how to beat them. You can't go in there and just say, oh, well, we're going to just do this here. And then you get killed. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work. Like, look at Georgia. You see how Georgia regrouped after getting annihilated in the SEC championship game last year? And they came back, start knocking them in the mouth. That's what you got to do. Knock the bully in the mouth repeatedly. So Tennessee did it. LSU had them on the ropes. Man, every time I say that, I keep thinking of Denny Green. Ooh. Oh my gosh. So these teams had them. Unfortunately, Texas, I still say that on that roughing penalty, they cheated that one. They wanted to save Alabama, but they can't save them for long. So AC, I did want to ask you a question though, because about the conference realignment and stuff like that. Is UCLA definitely going to the Big Ten? Because I know Cleveland, he's trying to do everything he can to keep them from going over there. So what's the deal with that?
As of right now, it's a done deal. As seeing UCLA going to the Big Ten next year, let's say 2023, 2024. And if it's not this year, then the following year. But it's a done deal, man. Like I said, for the love of money. They will do anything to stay relevant. The Pac-12 has been on the decline since the pandemic. We, TV ratings are down, attendance is down. So what's going to happen is that guaranteed money the Big Ten has been the alluring uh, point for the top two names in the Pac-12, and UCLA, USC. They're all for it because our Pac-12 network is failing as far as the TV deal. Me and Big Ian talked about TV earlier, how important it is to have a TV deal or the Mid-American Conference. They're on Wednesdays and Tuesdays because they get to be the only game of the week. Big Ten is big money. So if you're not going to support your biggest two draws in the Pac-12, you might be saying bye to them. Same thing happened in Oklahoma and Texas, the two biggest team names in the Big 12. So I think it's going to happen. And just like Utah and Colorado joining the Pac-10 to make the Pac-12, it sounded odd. This sounds odd too. How are two West Coast teams going to play in the Big 10 and all that travel? But, we always played Big 10 teams. We played Michigan in the Big House. It was a long travel day, but it was still a very good game. I mean, I got to play against Charles Woodson in the Big House. Like that wasn't, that's something that USC and UCLA can use for their recruits. Like you're going to play against Ohio State. You're going to play against Michigan. And you imagine all the, excitement it's going to bring to the fan base, to, you get the matchups, USC versus Ohio State, like the history between those two teams. Well, not the history between them, but the history of those two teams becoming a rival every season. I think it's got more pros than cons, in my opinion. So I think that it's going to happen. I don't know what the Pac-12 could do to make it not happen, except come with this TV deal that is like so great that they can hand over each university, $8 million a year for their programs. Something that they would get like just like a bowl game. We get to fund your entire program by playing one game. Well, now you get to stay in the Pac-12 and play 5 games at home and get this much money. It's going to come down to, can the Pac-12 match or better the amount of money the Big Ten is offering?
Yeah.
I mean, because I've been a lot of other YouTubers be putting out conference realignment stuff and all these scenarios, and I'd like to go with factional stuff. If there's news to be break, I'll go into it. I don't have the tolerance to be coming up with all these different scenarios and who's doing this and who's leaving, because it all just fiction to me. I just go for the concrete and figure out what the best scenario for teams. Like I know Oregon wanted to leave. Oregon is probably the one team that I know in the Pac that don't mind traveling at all. If you had to send them to London to play in Wembley Stadium, they probably would do it. I would like to, but the thing is, how would like you say, if the Pac could come up with the money to keep them, then yeah. But I don't see them because I think Oregon is going to be the next to find a way out. That's why I kept saying Notre Dame should go into the ACC. You already play teams from the Pac, the ACC, and independent teams, and the Pac-12. You play 3 conferences on your schedule, basically. What does that leave Oregon, Stanford next? I know Stanford is having like this, really down year, but I don't know. I think more college realignment is going to happen next season. How
did you feel? Let me ask you, Martin. How did you feel when Miami left the Big East and went to the ACC?
I hated it.
Did that change? Did that change the way you felt? Did that change recruiting? Like how big that might be why we're where we are with the Canes. Like they just don't get the same recruits because they're no longer in the conference that kids respect.
Two things I want for Miami. Either leave ACC. I think the Big 12 will be a nice fit for them. They still control the South in recruiting. I don't see them going to the SEC because that's too tough. Miami is already having tough time. I think the competitors sled in. I even said that the Big 10 is a nice fit for them. You know what I'm saying? Or if because Jim Phillips is not a good commissioner. He doesn't have the the aggressiveness. He's more concerned with basketball than football. And I was saying, like, hey, see if you could have pulled Penn State from the Big Ten, you know what I'm saying, and put them in the ACC. But that didn't happen because the Miami, Penn State, Notre Dame rivalry will fit so well, you know what I'm saying? It meshed a little bit. That's my scenario for that. But at the same time, you still could have Miami come there and you still have Penn State and you still have Notre Dame that still play over there anyway. But I didn't like Miami leaving. Either they stay independent, they could have stayed independent, or stay right there with the new Big East with the AAC now. They could have stayed over there. Could have been dominating. Yeah, the landscape of rankings and the college playoff would have been a little bit different from them, but you could have stuck all the recruits you needed because guess what? You'd have been the dominant team over there. You could have did something that nobody else did. I think it hurt Virginia Tech. It hurt Miami because they never gained traction. Miami haven't even won the Coastal since they've been there. They haven't won the Coastal, and it just I just don't think that the ACC benefits Miami a lot. Me personally, I would say just go back and go independent and make their own schedule, and then do a mass recruiting however they used to do it back in the day, and then because now that they got rid of the divisions, they're doing this crazy realignment thing with the ACC now. So how beneficial it's going to be because you don't play a conference championship.
They're not even going by region though. Like it's like Miami is at the bottom of the United States, and you're gonna go up to play Penn State you're gonna go up and play Ohio State. As the travel, I think is something they can manage, but it used to be like a pride thing. Pac-12 was West Coast, Big 12 was the Midwest, Big 10 was the upper Northwest, Northeast, and the ACC and the SEC were in the South, in the East, and you kind of made that kind of dominant territorial thing where a West Coast team is coming to the East Coast. Now we're going to see it a lot more. Is it going to take away from that pageantry and that spectacle that we got the West Coast versus East Coast? And we used to get that in the bowl game. Now we're going to get it throughout the season. You either like it or you love it or you hate it. I believe Kyle said he hated when you guys moved to the ACC.
This became the ACC hate hour, apparently. Good Lord.
hate.
That's what fuels us nowadays.
I would, like I say, Miami, to me, if I was Miami, I would look to move either the Big 12 or go back independent because I think the Big 12 will be beneficial because they still could stay in the South, you know what I'm saying? They move up because you got to think there's good teams in the Big 12, regardless of Texas and Oklahoma leaving. These teams, you got Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston that's coming over there. They're going to make that division much competitive. You got Baylor still there, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. If teams don't be trying to jump ship going all over the place, you know what I'm saying? But I think the first thing is for me, I'll say Miami should go independent. Go back independent. Be like Notre Dame. You see how the chips may fall in the future for you. You know what I'm saying? Before you decide to go back into another conference, because right now the ACC has been a dark cloud like Daniel Snyder over the Commanders right now.
I mean, if they go independent, where they gonna play? Because Notre Dame got the NBC deal. That's Notre Dame. They still see Miami as the convicts. As they play the Catholics versus the convicts, so they're gonna get a UPN deal. They're gonna be on Channel 13. Where they gonna play at? They're gonna play on the.
They're gonna take over the Ocho.
They're gonna be on the Ocho. They're gonna play on BET Plus.
Hey, they could come and join on the Sports Empire Network show.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
But another thing that I think Kyle brings up a good point with the expanded playoff coming in, and they're going to be emphasizing those conference championships. It may not be the most beneficial for Miami to take that independent step like you were talking about.
Yeah, that's
so I mean, that's a solid
You
point.
gotta be undefeated. If you go independent, you gotta be undefeated and undeniably the best team in the country, top 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I know you guys are talking about the Big 12, obviously UCF making that move next year. And I mean, really, I don't know if y'all have been paying attention to the American Conference, but things have gotten wild because Tulane's on top.
Yeah.
What? Like, hey, I'm all for seeing new teams. Like you said, we want to see parity. Tulane coming off a 2-10 season, and now they're 8-1. And they're hosting a 7-2 UCF squad. They're the only two group of 5 teams standing in the top 25 right now. So, I mean, this could very well clear the way. Now, mind you, Tulane, if they were to get by UCF today, they still have SMU and Cincinnati on their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I know we don't normally talk mid-majors, but I feel like this is one of those games I almost have to sit down and watch just for the New Year's Six implications.
Yeah.
And I mean, those are two really good stories because even Gus Malzahn, Auburn's former coach, since he took over the UCF program, he's 16-6.
Wow.
Auburn during that same time has been 9-13. So was it really Malzahn's issue there in Auburn, or was it not? But I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on some of these mid majors? Finally, it seems like they're getting a little more voice now.
Well, I'm gonna say this, man. Tulane always has a dude or two. Like they always have a couple guys that end up going and playing on Sunday. And when they get a fortunate schedule and lands at 8-1, I think is good for football. Is it true? Is it legit? We'll find out today. Because now all the narratives that you placed in today's rundown, they haven't played a team this highly ranked in 25 years. All these different little tidbits that make the game more interesting, being that they're ranked higher than UCF and big time Gus Malzahn, Auburn's coach, and all those different little carrots to keep you interested. How do you get me to watch the UCF versus Tulane game? You rank them, you put together a narrative, and you make it an interesting matchup. And it does what it's supposed to do, man. I was a communications major. We had marketing classes, and all these little enticers, these little bait, like clickbait. That's pretty much what it is. Now they gotta play. Now they have to play. All that other stuff is great. All the rankings are great. But if Tulane loses, they're out of the top 25.
Mm-hmm.
They're right back. Yes, I mean, that's the hard part about it. Somebody has to lose today. UCF's probably going to win. Most likely. It's Florida versus Louisiana. You're going to have athletes everywhere. But it's Gus Malzahn. You know what I'm saying? He's a good coach. And Tulane has been up and down over the years, always have been. And they got them Rudy Poo uniforms, man. Who wants a wave on your helmet? You can't be tough with a wave on your helmet. You can't be real tough.
You should have a wave with a guy on there surfing.
That's not gonna make it any tougher.
That's Hawaii, though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that don't remind me of New
That's
Orleans.
the Rainbow Warriors. We're talking about Tulane. They need to have like the monsoons or the tsunamis or something. The waves.
Raging Cajun, because that's Louisiana.
Well, that can be a tough dude. He raging Cajun. He raging Louisiana dude. He can't even speak. Raging Cajun.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you rather be a green wave or a mean green?
Mean green can be anything. What's a mean green? We don't even know what that is.
I don't know. Ask North Texas, because it seems like they just got bored and they found something that rhymed.
That's probably going to be the mean green. Any objections? Excuse me, sir. What's a mean green? You can be quiet. You shut up. You shut your trap right now.
Oh my gosh.
No, I mean, I got UCF in the upset. Don't even sound right. UCF to upset Tulane. Does that sound right? Does not sound right at all.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if we could even call it an upset because the line's officially gone down And obviously, it's not going to move anymore today because I know that game kicks off at 3:30 Eastern. So that I'm pretty sure that line's locked in. But right now, it has Tulane by 1.5. So
Well, you put in the rundown, they've lost 60 consecutive games to AP ranked teams. 60.
Yep, that's the longest streak in the poll era, which started back in 1936. And the last time that they
60.
hosted a ranked team at Tulane was against number 13 LSU when they were both still in the SEC.
60 games, bro.
6-0. Yes, sir.
You think they're gonna rush the field?
They might. I don't know. I mean, their field's green. I don't know how much more of a green wave you need in a green stadium.
Yeah, that reminds me of that Boise State field, that blue.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna watch it, man. I'm gonna see if they haven't won a game versus a ranked opponent in 60 games. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, not only that, there's no way that anybody can clinch a spot in the conference championship game today because of the schedule and how it is with the Tulane UCF game.
You gotta win.
But I know
win.
I mean, they absolutely have to win. I mean, just a couple other quick hitters. I know we were talking about Oregon earlier. You know, do we really believe that Washington even really stands a chance against Oregon today?
There's a possibility.
Puncher's chance, yeah.
Puncher's chance. Okay. Yeah, I mean, right now, they currently have Oregon by 13.5. So, and I mean, if Bo Nix continues to play the way he has, again, you take out that Georgia game, honestly, I could actually probably see him getting a couple of Heisman votes. I'm not going to say he's going to win it, but I mean, he's had a heck of a season.
Yeah.
I mean,
if Drake May could get Heisman votes, why not?
Yeah. I mean, I think this is the Bo Nix that Auburn wanted but couldn't get. So, yeah, I know that there's that one. And then I know Michigan, they are hosting Nebraska later today. But, I mean, I don't really see anything too big coming out of that one either. But I know
Nebraska needs a time machine to beat Michigan.
They need something.
Go back 20 years, Tommy Frazier and them guys. But the kids they got now, there's no chance against Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know some of the obvious clinchers as far as conference championship games can go. Obviously, we know Clemson's already clinched the Atlantic, even though they lost to Notre Dame. But North Carolina can actually lock up the Coastal later today with the win at Wake Forest or a loss by Duke and Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech, I know, is playing Miami at home, and I believe Duke is playing Virginia Tech at home. So
I don't like watching the scoreboard for my fate. Like I don't want my team hoping somebody else beats somebody for us. Like I want to run the table. So if I'm North Carolina, I don't even look at the scoreboard. I don't look at the other games. I win my game and let the other stuff happen. I'll watch Sports Center until later on tonight. So hopefully North Carolina doesn't go in there saying, man, if we lose, hopefully somebody else helps us. I can't stand that. Run your own table, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Big 12, the easiest one, TCU, win they're in, and then they're waiting on Kansas State, I think, depending on how the rest of that season goes. The SEC, I know we talked about the West already and all that chaos. Obviously, LSU can win, which I honestly think they probably are going to clinch it today because I just don't see them losing to Mississippi State. And I know we all want Ole Miss to win, but I don't remember the last time Alabama's lost 2 in a row under Saban.
I don't like Ole Miss either. Is there any way that both teams can lose?
What?
Ole Miss and Alabama. They play each other. Can they ever tie?
Yeah. Let's bring in the NFL rules one time and let them tie it.
Just for this
one
game.
time. Just one time.
Well, Alabama on the road to Ole Miss. So
Lane Kiffin versus Saban. Lane Kiffin versus Saban. Alert, alert. Awkward handshake.
Somebody's gonna throw a mustard bottle. Oh wait, that's Tennessee. My bad.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin been talking trash, just like Jimbo.
Yep.
It's time to back it up. This is your time. This is your chance. Back it up.
They bought players, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you go in there and lay an egg or get blown off the field, it's going to be really bad for you, Mr. Kifflin. So
yeah.
Parking lot pimping, parking lot firing.
Leave him on the runway lane.
Runway lane.
When Lane was with Nick Saban a few years ago, I wanted him to come to Miami because he is an offensive guru. I like his offensive style. But then, I had to come to Jesus meeting because he likes to jump ship too fast. Anything that opens that looks good, he's going to leave. I don't want that feeling with him. I mean, I want somebody that's going to stay there and stick it out. I mean, they already talking about him want to be, possibly the coach for Auburn. I was like, man, stay where you at. You build something good. Keep doing what you're doing. The reward will get greater for you down the road. You know what I'm saying? You could probably be in the college playoff, maybe win a national championship. But when you start jumping around, I ain't all for that, because then, somebody else got to come and clean up your mess from you leaving. So
that's what it's all about, Martin. Better opportunity. It's about sequel. It's my next move. It's like, if I'm going to do this, he figured he's a young guy. And I'm not saying I agree with everything he's done, because he's gotten fired. He's left on his own. He's had every gamut, and he's still a young guy, very young guy. Yeah. Very good in the living room, very good with single moms, getting kids in. Just imagine how he could do that at Auburn, because Ole Miss still has a stigma. The Confederate flag still flies, and it's still a little bit of that racism thing down there at Old Mississippi. So you got to get past that, but you got to have dudes to beat the Bamas, to beat the Clemsons. So he has to fight that war. At Auburn, he won't have that same stigma. He'll be able to recruit kids and talk about that national championship they have with Cam Newton, and they can say you could be the next Cam Newton. He can, it just be a little bit more easier for him. And in his mind, I'm pretty sure his goal in life wasn't to coach Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So, he is going to continue to go up his coaching ladder. And timing is everything. But, I mean, shoot, Deion Sanders might take that job at Auburn. Who knows? But he might be waiting for that Florida State job. And I got to tell my kids when I'm coaching, if I take another job, you better be happy for me, because I'm taking it because it's bettering my career. It's just the same way I'm trying to help you better your career. You should want the same for your coach. Like if I didn't lie to you, I plan to be here for the next 5 years. But if my dream job opens up and they give me the red carpet, I expect you to be happy for me, because I want you to do the same. And when your opportunity comes to go to the pros and you want to sit out the bowl game because you want to not get injured, I have to respect that decision. If Duke basketball can take one and dones, UCLA basketball can take one and dones, I think we can all be a little bit more flexible with people doing the best thing for them. It's it's us getting out of what we're used to. Yeah, we want somebody to be there for a long tenure, long haul. You promised me, man. At the end of the day, you got to do what you feel is best for you, because other than that, you'll be regretful. You'll be sitting there at Ole Miss, could have took the Auburn job, and before you know it, you get fired anyway. So you're going to always move on to your next best opportunity. Again, I'm not a Lane Kiffin fan, but if I'm Lane Kiffin and Auburn offers me $7 million and pretty much free reign to do whatever I want, I'll have to take a long look at that, just because it's the business thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. I think the one job that he really wants is that Bama job. I think that's something that I'm telling you, even if say he stays at Ole Miss or he goes to Auburn, and the next 3 years, Nick Saban said, I'm done. Shoot, man, look, I know Lane Kiffin. He definitely wants that job. Because that's probably the ultimate right there.
Well, at
So
that point, it would be up to has Lane won enough to be the successor. It's going to take a championship coach to replace Nick Saban.
yeah,
They're not going to bring in no Rudy Poo. It's going to be Les Miles or Jim Tressel type of guy that has a championship. Lane Kiffin got to win one to be in line for that job. Or if Nick Saban anoints him, that's a whole nother ball game. But I don't know if their relationship is like that.
or Kirby Smart there too. So who knows?
Yeah,
Does Kirby want that? That's
I personally, I don't see Kirby leaving Georgia after what he's done for that program. And to be fair, I feel like I saw it online somewhere, but I think they put it best. We need to start looking at Georgia, how Alabama was between 2010 and last year. With the way that Kirby Smart has built that program, it's going to be hard to take it away from him. But I mean, the SEC East, obviously, we know that can also be clinched today if Georgia just wins.
Just win, baby.
I mean, that's all. I mean, that's literally all they have to do is beat Mississippi State. I mean, sounds
easy work.
Sounds easy, right?
Easy work.
Sounds easy. But I mean, if that were to completely falter, then you'd need Tennessee to lose to Missouri. But regardless, I think Georgia's going to lock up their spot today. I just don't see how it goes any other way. But I mean, we could get an entire conference championship set up today, though, with Conference USA and UTSA can actually make it to the CUSA championship game today. All they have to do is beat Louisiana Tech. And according to most polls, they have an 84% chance of doing that today.
That means if I bet $2, I win $100, right?
I mean, I wish it was that easy. I'm not 100% sure what the books are saying on that one, but you never know.
84%. I bet $2 they lose.
Okay.
It's worth it.
Hey.
Come on, Law Tech. We played Law Tech once. They usually have a couple kids. You never know. They got to play the game.
Yep.
I haven't seen UTSA play this year. Anything's possible.
Yep. I have not either. But I mean, if they're knocking on the door, but the other team, we mentioned them earlier because I know you were up in Tulane for the Green Wave. The Mean Green can actually clinch the other Conference USA spot today with a win at UAB, but they would also need Rice to lose to Western Kentucky. So I know you were saying, you'd rather be in control of your own fate, but I mean, we could very well have an entire conference championship matchup set up this week, which would be honestly really cool to see.
But AC, was talking about that Green Wave just not tough enough. But they really could drown their opponent and easy win.
Nah, man. Now you need a life preserver. You don't need a whole lot. When I see North Texas, I think of unnecessary roughness or the best of times. Like it just seems like a fictitious school. Like North Texas isn't. I don't know, man. Whenever I see them, it's like I just can't take them seriously. No disrespect, my North Texas alumni, North Texas fans. Yeah. North Texas, man. You Texas? No, I mean North Texas.
One of my favorite teams in these lower conferences is in the Sun Belt, Coastal Carolina. I'm a huge Carolina fan.
Yeah, it's that teal field for me. It gets me every time. But I mean, they could clinch the Sun Belt East with a win against Southern Miss, or if Georgia State loses and ODU loses. But I think Coastal Carolina actually might be in some trouble because Grayson McCall's out for 3 to 5 weeks with an injury.
It's a wrap.
It is. And it's just, Coastal Carolina, they've always been a really good story. I think when we saw them a couple years ago going undefeated until they played Liberty, I think they were that Cinderella team that everybody wanted. But now after hearing that Grayson McCall is going to be out for 3 to 5 weeks, I know that's going to take him out of the regular season, but man, it's going to be weird seeing that offense go without him today. I will say.
Well, I want to hear, how do you pronounce their mascot?
Chanticleers?
What is that?
I don't know.
It's a chicken.
A chicken?
Same with the Gamecocks in South Carolina.
Yes.
It's an angry fighting chicken.
I was
but-
about to call them chandeliers.
The
I mean,
chandeliers,
that's what I always called them too. But
chanticleers.
Yeah.
I mean, who's sitting at these meetings and naming these teams? I mean, Gamecocks, okay. At least sounds tough. Gamecocks. We're gonna get
according to
Chanticleers.
dictionary.com, a chanticleer is a name given to a rooster, especially in fairy tales.
Oh man, that's even worse.
So
It's a
y'all tell me
fictitious chicken.
it's
I
the Coastal
learned
Carolina
everything
Foghorn
that
Leghorns.
The foghorn leghorns would be a better name than the chanticleers.
I learn something every day.
The chicken hawks.
Yeah, the chicken hawks.
I eat chicken.
The chickens.
Yeah, and I mean,
I say, boy, look at me when I talk. I say, I want chicken.
I mean, I don't know, but this seems to be a Carolina thing because obviously Coastal Carolina, they're got a chicken. South Carolina, they're named after a fighting rooster in the Gamecock.
Well, East Carolina said, forget all that. We pirates.
You're right.
Yeah, North Carolina said, we're just Tar Heels.
What the heck is a Tar Heel? A goat.
Is
A
that
goat?
really what it is?
That's their mascot, a goat. But the Tar
I
Heels,
thought it was
like-
a ram.
well, a ram, goat with horns.
Yeah. But yeah.
A ram is tougher, but
Yes.
I was like, what is a Tar Heel? I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
Is it a Native American tribe? Blackfoot?
It might be something like that.
Probably.
Ain't
Sounds
nothing
like-
worse. Ain't nothing worse than West Coast Compton Tar Babies. The worst name in the history of high school football. Compton Tar Babes.
Because I do believe that the Cherokee tribe isn't up there in North Carolina, so could have
If they ain't the
some.
Blackfoots,
The Blackfoot
shoot.
tribe might.
yeah, well, the
they
Compton
might
Tar
have-
Babes, as a kid growing up, I'm like, if that ain't racial, the Compton Tar Babies, they were like, well, the Compton College Tartars, Tartar is a Trojan warrior, and Compton is the junior to the Compton College. So we're the babes, the Tartar Babes, Tar Babes. I'm like, hold up.
That
Tar Babes? And I went to the basketball game when I was a kid, and their mascot is a little black baby with a diaper on. I was done.
no.
I was like, the Compton Tar Babes.
No.
No one else sees a problem with this. And it's still that to this day. They're the Compton Tar Babes. And it's just because they're baby tartars. And I was like, no.
No.
Especially today, where you can't even say any form of a racial
Mm-mm.
a phrase. Like you can't say chink in the armor if you're talking about anything. If there's an Asian player on the team, you can't
Yeah.
say that, and it's that delicate. But the
Mhm.
Compton Tar Babes, and I was like, the mascot is a black warrior with a diaper on. He has a sword. He's mean. He has on the Greek leaves around his head.
The olive branch, yeah.
Oh man, it's like, but tradition. I was like, wait a minute. They got some sweet uniforms, and they're light blue, just like North Carolina. They're just
Yeah.
like North Carolina, light blue and dark blue, but they are the Tar Babes, Tar Heels, Tar Babes.
I feel like that's a tradition that needs to go.
They're not gonna change it, man. They got the best band. The band be rocking like an HBCU. They only got three tubas and a trumpet, but they be jamming though.
Hey yo.
Let me see. I was looking at something else, trying to figure out. I think Clemson, Louisville, and Ole Miss and Alabama come on at 12:30 today.
Well, hope you
I
got
believe
split screen.
so, yeah.
You got split
Give me
screen.
1 sec.
You got a split screen.
I got one TV and I got another phone that like an iPad that I project pretty well. So I keep surrounding myself with.
Do they have red zone for college?
I wish.
No.
I
know.
wish.
That is awesome. Red zone is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Alabama and Ole Miss play at 3:30 Eastern.
Oh, DirecTV do got that sports mix though.
They do. I don't have DirecTV. I'm in Hulu
Yeah.
Sports. Hulu has live sports. Dame Lillard lied. They don't have all. They don't have all the games.
No.
And then what was the other game you were asking about, Martin?
Oh, I was talking about Clemson Louisville. So,
Clemson and Deville.
Yeah, I would love to see Clemson lose today and see the pain on these people's face before they play us next weekend.
Is it at Louisville?
Yeah, or no, it's in Clemson, and yeah, they both do kick off at 3:30 Eastern today.
And Clemson will win that game. They're at home. I was thinking if Clemson was on the road, I would think they would get that beat. They'll get beat down, but they're gonna win this game.
I think that Clemson Miami game is at 12:30. So, guys, I might not be on next weekend. Just to give y'all a heads up, because I'm projected to be at the game.
Hey, do what you gotta do, man.
Next week is UCLA versus SC, so I don't know what I'm gonna be. I might be down there trying to loot and destroy their mascot on campus with tape and black Sharpie markers all over the campus, just trying to destroy their property. It gets real crazy out here during that week.
Just don't jump Tommy Trojan in the tunnel, okay? You're better than that.
We're gonna wrap him up.
Yeah, something. Y'all gonna do something. But yeah, no, I mean, just looking at a couple of these other matchups here this week. I mean, Illinois, I'm pretty sure they can wrap the Big Ten West, or they're within a game of wrapping the Big Ten West with their game against Michigan State today. So, but obviously Purdue's falling off, but I mean, if Illinois loses, that makes that Illinois-Purdue game next week that much tougher. And obviously they're going to play whoever comes between Ohio State and Michigan there, but I think that might be another game to watch later today.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to I mean, we were just talking about Illinois being a power a couple weeks ago. And that ended pretty quick.
I know we did mention it last week, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh well, that goes that theory.
Or correction, Illinois is actually playing Purdue today. So I believe this would solidify the Big Ten West, although I'm not sure if Minnesota is close enough.
Yeah.
But have y'all been watching this UConn team?
I kind of have a little connection to UConn with the Jim Mora thing, and then Jaleel Wadud is part of the staff, and he's a West Coast kid. Interesting happening up there. I mean, UConn football has never been anything that I've been, because I was born in Connecticut, so I do have roots there. So I kind of have a connection, but never Stores football. Like, it's been Stores basketball.
Oh yeah.
So
always on the men's and the women's side.
Yeah. Always.
It's kind of interesting because I heard a lot of talk about them. They was talking about, well, maybe the ACC could bring in somebody like UConn. I was like, okay, y'all getting desperate. I was like, it's. I mean, teams look. They was talking about Appalachian State because they've been beating a few of the top teams, but it's to me, it's like y'all doing a little too much right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's crazy because from 2018 to last year, UConn went 4-32. And this year they're 5-5, one win away from bowl eligibility.
That's a win. That's a win.
You really think
was the one meme going around? A win. That's a win. A win's a win. A win's a win. Shut up. It happened.
Yeah, I mean, hey, a win's a win for them, but I don't think they're going to beat Liberty today.
Probably not.
No. I can't do that. So, but yeah, I'm just kind of going through the slate right now of a couple other games might be, I mean, North Carolina going to Wake Forest tonight. Obviously, I know, Martin, you were bringing up Drake May earlier.
Ooh, that's going to be a tough one for North Carolina because Wake play. I wish they had beat Clemson. That just would have put them right there they would have been the driver's seat for the ACC title. It was just, but this, I mean, hey, they could play spoiler, play upset. So who knows? I think they got a chance. I mean, Drake May, he's athletic enough. He runs when he just needs to, but I don't know, man. It's just something that North Carolina just been one of those teams that they look like the beginning of the season looked like they were just gonna fall apart. The beginning of the season when they struggle against App State and everything like that, but then they finally got it together. Through the season, had some wins right here and there. I
Mhm.
wish they scheduled Clemson in the regular season so I could see what they really look like. Against a decent team. So,
Yeah,
um, but I mean, if they get past Wake, I'm gonna give them a real good shot to beat Clemson in an ACC championship game.
yeah, definitely. I think I mean, I really do believe that they could do it, but I mean, their defense right now, it's a little suspect.
Mm,
113th in the nation out of 130 teams in God, what is it? Points allowed per drive.
yeah,
So, I mean, that could very well favor a Wake in this one, but I mean, shoot, Wake's favored by 3.5, so that game can pretty much be a toss up as well. Um,
yeah.
but I know we're getting close to the end here, and I think AC. I believe I think UCLA's got the nightcap tonight
Yeah, we got a
with
nightcap versus
Arizona.
Arizona. Should be an easy game, but we're really concerned about some of our top players. Zach Charbonnet having that mysterious injury, and
Hmm.
then Devin Kirkwood, our top cornerback, didn't make the game last week with a broken hand. I believe he has, and probably played with the club. I know his mom personally, and so she's like, "Pray for my baby." I don't think he's ever had an injury before, so it was really tough.
Mm.
But the Zach Charbonnet thing really bothered me. Even though we ran for 400 yards last week, but that was not a very good Arizona State team. Arizona's on the rise, but they're not that good yet either. Jeff Fish is doing a great job, bringing some good guys, but they're not ready to beat UCLA right now.
Mhm.
UCLA is looking forward to the SC game. This could be dangerous tonight because they do have a pretty good offense that can score some points. If we overlook Arizona, it could be a tougher game than we need. We need it to be an easy game where second half starters can rest as we get ready for SC next week. But I'm looking for SC, type of result the way SC beat Colorado last night. I believe UCLA should beat Arizona the same way. Running the football, Chip Kelly's this is the best team he's had since Oregon, as far as
Mhm.
having an experienced quarterback, deep offensive line, and you put anybody at running back, they're going to get 100 yards. That's how good they're blocking right now. Defensively, they got to stop giving up the booty late in the game, letting guys score 35 points, 40 points, because they've let their foot off the pedal. They've had their moments. So, I look for them to have a better showing than they had versus Arizona State defensively, because especially going against SC next week, defense will be the key. Both offenses can score 40 points. Whose
Mhm.
defense can make a stop? And that's going to be the key. That's what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to go to the game tonight, take my son and everything, and take a look at them up close and personal and see what they're really about.
Well,
Yeah.
USC's running back is out for the season, right? From last night,
No, I
Yeah.
didn't know what happened.
Broke his leg.
he broke his leg.
Ah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah. He had
Travis
a heck
died.
of a game. Yeah. I mean, he had a really solid game leading up to that moment too. So.
That's why those games, man. Those games that that are easy or pushover games, man. Those are dangerous, man. You can lose your key guy, but that's all the more
Mhm.
reason for Lincoln Riley not to run the football now. He's not going to run the football at all the rest of the season. They're going to throw the ball every down.
Mm,
Yeah, something like that. And then Martin, I know because you're a Miami fan, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and you guys are on the road playing Georgia Tech there in Atlanta today.
yeah. If I knew today, I probably would have, because I'm only an hour and a half from Atlanta right now.
Hmm.
But I heard the tickets was like $18.
Right now, I'm seeing
$18.
them as low as 30.
Yeah. So and then the Clemson game, the tickets is like $33 right now. So, and that
Mhm.
just because Miami's is a bad team right now. They might as well just give the game for free.
Yeah, it feels like it. And I mean,
Uh,
I know I was going to say my Falcons, they're 6-3. We're hosting New Mexico today. So, I
but you for
mean,
Air Force, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, shoot, I could get a ticket right now as low as $9.
Wow.
So yeah, tickets are definitely out there. So obviously, if you guys can, and for those watching us and who have been tuned in for the last couple hours, if you guys can make it to a game today, obviously go do it. Go enjoy college football. Do you guys have any last words before we get out of here?
Oh yeah. Speaking of the Miami Georgia Tech game, I'm trying to figure out who's starting at quarterback because they haven't announced it yet. But I think it's going to be Ja'Cory Brown. I do want to see a lot from this young man. He's 6'5", 200 plus. He got an arm. I just want his accuracy to get better, and I think that'll become after next year. I just want to see what he looks like, how Josh Gaddis is going to use him because basically the offense has been hit or miss throughout the whole season. So I want to, put that Florida State game out of their mind, come out ready to play because Georgia Tech is capable to beat them. They have been playing really well since the firing of their coach. And from the last 6 games that they have played from, I looked at last night, those games been close, except for probably about 2 Miami were favorite. But Georgia Tech always play us real tight. They play us real physical. So Miami got to be ready to play. They got to be ready to play because if they lose this game, it's it. That's it. There's no bowl.
Crazy to think about. Crazy, because I know I've always enjoyed watching Miami, especially during bowl season. So it'd be nice if they could get it together here. So, AC, you got any last parting words?
Nah, man, it's just gonna be a great football Saturday. Trying to look and see which one I'm looking most forward to, and there's always ranked opponents, man. So looking forward to the TCU Texas game. They got me hooked by their storyline. So good job, marketing department, narrative department, setting that up. Set me up for disappointment. Set me up for the disappointment. The Tulane versus UCF game, Alabama Mississippi game. I want to see that. We want to see Lane Kiffin lose. We want to see Nick Saban lose. We want to see a tie in that game. So I'm gonna put $2 on a tie, and
2 on a tie. Got you.
2 on a tie. And I think that's about it. Everybody else is just a regular game. But every day you get to wake up, man. The sun's out. Kids that lost last night probably feel terrible, whatnot. But every day is a blessing, man. Every day you get to wake up, and this is a great time of year. Basketball's underway, and baseball just finished up. Well, college football is about to get real, real tight. Who's going to be where? Who's going to make a big bowl or a decent bowl? Who's going to be at the Tijuana Home Depot Bowl because they didn't make it to the BCS? And it was. I mean, who names these bowls? Like I saw, what was it? Crypto Toilet Bowl. It was something like it's just like, man.
The Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
Yeah, the Jimmy John's Bowl, like the Hawaiian silky hairdressing, whatever product they got out there for the bowl game. Let's be more cognizant of what we're putting out there. This is the waste management bowl. Like this is the trash bowl, really? The trash bowl. Trash bowl.
There's always the Cheez-It Bowl too.
Cheez-It Bowl. This is the Cheez-It Bowl. Who wants to be in the lower tier bowl games that I think were pretty cool? It's probably be a segment for next week. It's like bowl games that you think have been named improperly. I like the PlayStation Bowl because they gave all the kids PlayStations. I think that was pretty cool.
But they took away the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl for it. Like that just went.
That's was one of my favorite bowls because it just
Tostitos.
It's just the name and the ring of it sounds so catchy.
So was it now the R. Kelly Fiesta Bowl? Fiesta.
Oh Lord, help us all.
The R. Kelly Fiesta Bowl.
The Skechers Walk Easy Bowl.
Man, I'm good, man. Y'all have a blessed day, man. Enjoy the football games, man.
Yeah, right. You too. So.
All right, Ian, AC, y'all be blessed, man. I try to tune into both. Well, I'll definitely be tuning into both of y'all games today. But I gotta get my hater on for Alabama.
Hate.
We all there with you. So, but again, for Martin and AC, this is Ian with the Big Dawgs on Campus show. We'll catch y'all next week. Enjoy your college football Saturday.